Well, good morning again from Southern Ontario here this August 14th, Friday. Try and be brief here, though it's hard sometimes because there's so much stuff wrong with Mr. Trudeau that I could go on forever. But yesterday we had a brief parliamentary session. Parliament mostly closed here in Canada by Trudeau's dictates. He had called this session. It was booked quite some time ago, I gather. And, of course, they wanted him to be there since the WE scandal, where he gave 912 billion, almost $1 trillion. If you're not aware of that, my heavens, you've got your head awful far up your ass. Anyway, since that scandal broke a couple of weeks back, there's been a couple of more multi-million-dollar scandals with handing out our taxpayers' monies to his cronies for, well, I won't get into the details, doesn't matter. Well, I mean, it matters, but the details don't. It's just yet again another blatant corruption expose, if you will. So, I gather, although I haven't been able to find the facts on this, if he'd have been in Parliament yesterday, they could have called a non-confidence vote. And to my interpretation, I actually believe they would have. The Bloc, Québécois, is, they're not going to back him anymore. And of course, the Progressive Conservatives are outraged by, well, endless corruption in the Liberal government. They were livid that he wasn't there. And where was he? He was at Gail Weston's, multi-million-dollar cottage on Georgian Bay. Now, apparently it's an ethics violation, yet again, for him even to be there. Now, let me point out, Weston Bakeries, they own Loblaws. Trudeau, was it within the last year ago or whatever, when he was handing out money everywhere, he gave Loblaws $12 million. Loblaws is a pretty prosperous outfit. Why he would give them $12 million? Go figure. Let's not forget Weston Bakeries, Loblaws, all those big players, they were caught in that bread scandal. Price fixing bread prices in Canada. They were busted for it. A bit of headline news at the time. I forget myself what happened. Some fines were levied or something perhaps. I don't know. A little slap on the wrist. So you can't say Weston, the company, Loblaws, or Gail Weston himself aren't crooked as hell. And while we're on Trudeau handing out money, that was at the same time he gave, I don't know what it was, $50 million, well, it was $50 million he gave to the Clinton Foundation. Say what, you say? Yeah, that's what I said. Why would we give any money to the Clinton Foundation? Who else did he give money to that was pretty shaky there? I think Coca-Cola got a big chunk of change. One of the banks. Oh, gets lost in the wash, doesn't it? There's so many of them. But there's Trudeau again. I mean, he knows he's in an ethics violation to be where he is. He knows everybody's going to be uber pissed that he's not in Parliament. Does he really care? I don't think he does. He thinks he's the dictator he's wanting and trying blatantly to be. 6 or 8 months ago, he was trying to run things, kind of slip them under the rug, you know what I mean, hoping nobody sees. Like when he tried to enact the War Measures Act when the pandemic first broke out. Yeah, he was going to declare war on a virus. No, the thing was, the very first thing he did when the pandemic broke out, pandemic as such, but whatever, nobody knew at the time what it was going to shake out to be. He tried to enact the War Measures Act, which would give him dictatorial powers completely because Parliament would be closed for 18 months. That was in March when things broke out. Nobody knew what was going to happen. He wanted 18 months. So at that point, he wasn't keeping things swept under the rug, kind of hidden from public view, shall we say. Since then, he's gotten increasingly blatant in the pursuit of his objective. Again, that objective being a dictatorship. And this act now, where he's not in Parliament, and again, in breach of ethics, an ethics violation to be where he is, well, there's no hiding anything anymore, is there? So is he that arrogant and that stupid? Or is he that confident that we're no longer a democracy? And I'll summate this by saying 10 years ago, Venezuela was the third most prosperous country in the world. Economically, with their oil, and if not third, certainly in the top 10 for, those polls they have where it's the best place to live, health care, the wealth, if you will, the standard of living of their citizens. It only took 10 years to destroy that country. It is now a cesspit. And I mean, that's worldwide knowledge. You don't want to be in Venezuela. They're literally starving. And the chain of progression in those 10 years, don't forget, gun bans, disarming the peasants, the citizenry, was one of them. And don't forget, Trudeau's trying to do that. So what's Trudeau been in power now? It's in excess of 5 years. And we're following the progression of what happened in Venezuela. You haven't seen it quite in your pocket yet, but when the government says we're $1 trillion in debt, the reality of that is it's $3 trillion. We're broke. He has handed out money, currying favor, and well, this is his 6th ethics violation now, and those are the ones that have come to light. So try and wake up your fellow sheeples. This guy has to go, or we're going to be Venezuela. And I'm not the only one who thinks it. As always, take care and good luck to us all. We're in big trouble, people.